Faction Wars Hard Mode introduced 5 brand new bosses into the game. And while they're all very difficult, there are some bosses which are more difficult than others. And we're going to be ranking all the 5 bosses in terms of difficulty from the easiest to deal with, easiest in quotation marks, to the most difficult among the 5. Let's jump into it. Hey guys, SMZ here, we're back playing Raid Shadow Legends, and Faction Wars Hard Mode has been challenging even for a very endgame account like mine. I'm quite close to finishing this off with 3 stars on all stages, getting Polara finally. I am exactly 20 points away and I'm getting stuck. Some of the stages I just do not have the kits, and I'm trying to do it with the champions that I have. There are some stages like Dark Elves where I don't have a nuker, or Ogrins, or even Lizardmen where I'm lacking nuker. So I'm building, for example, I'm building Ramantu as my nuker for that particular faction. He's my best damage dealer in that account. So, but I'm progressing through. I've been able to beat the Hard 21 boss with 3 stars on each and every single one of them, which means that I am in a very good position to rank these bosses. Remember, please, that this is going to be a subjective list. This is my opinion based on my experience dealing with the bosses. You might have a different opinion, I would love to hear about it in the comments, but please be civil because this is again subjective. There's a free champion that you can get by using the link in my description. That is Narma the Return, a great champion to battle the Demon Lord. And you can get her alongside other crazy good epic champions like Anax, like Uugo, and like Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. How to get these champions for free? Here's how to do it. You go into your Plarium Play and log out of your current account. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email address. Download the game and then play the tutorial, and you will find Narma sitting there chilling in your inbox. And you can get all of these crazy good epic champions as you progress through the game. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Click the link in the description and get these cool champs. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first boss, or we're gonna start with number 5. So number 5 is gonna be the easiest of the 5 bosses. Number 1 is gonna be the hardest. So number 5 on the list is gonna be, it's gonna be the Tainted Incinerator. So this is a video I've filmed previously, so that's why you might see me right here. Please ignore that. I'll try to cover myself up, but let's get to the boss itself. So the Tainted Incinerator is this greenish boss. There are 2 green bosses. This is a light green, yellowish theme of boss basically. He brings a lot of poisons, HP burns on his kit. And if you do not have a good cleanser or healer, you might have issues. So for example, I also had to bring a reviver. I had to build Fang Cleric, an epic reviver. In this case, as you can see, is one of my champions is dead. Now this boss can be tricky, but he's one of the easiest to deal with. He has 2 ads which puts block damage and block buffs on the boss. Easy way to avoid that, bring a block buffs champion and put that on the boss. He's not gonna be getting any of those buffs. He does not cleanse himself or anything like that. The way to deal with this boss is his ads are quite flimsy. They're not as tanky. So what I generally try to do is I generally try to first kill his ads and then damage over time. Just smack him until he's dead. And if you even if you don't have good damage dealers like my team right here, but if you can bring enough poisons, in my case I brought Mithrala, a lot of poisons, and Lydia with the poison sensitivity, you can deal with this boss. You do need 2 essential things. One is a block buffs champion, the second is a cleanser. Mithrala is a good cleanser in this case. You just saw that how many poisons were on my team, and I was able to wipe that all off, which is why I rank this boss as number 5 on the list, or the easiest to deal with. Let's jump on to number 4, and that is going to be, and this might be a little controversial one, but this is going to be the Tainted Dweller for me. And can we get to the boss, please? There you go. So Tainted Dweller is a tricky one because he can be very challenging to deal with because he does a lot of damage. He probably does the most damage out of the 5 bosses, but he is easier to deal with if you need a couple of things. Again, you need a block buffs to basically, either you need a block buffs to avoid him putting the reflect damage on himself, or you need to be able to remove his reflect. So if you can get one of those things, in my case, in this particular team, I have Daithi, who not only does a lot of damage, but also he removes on his A1 any buffs on the champion. Second thing you need is either you need to bring a block debuffs champion, or you need to bring a cleanser. If you have those 3 things and you have a healer and a reviver, ideally, you can do this boss. I've done this boss even with factions where I did not have a reviver. But enough support. The good news about this boss is that he is, because while he hits hard, he also takes a lot of damage. He dies very quickly. He has a smaller HP pool, which is why I have him at number 4 on the list. He's also the easiest to do in terms of the number of turns. So as you saw in this team, I was able to complete this relatively quickly. That's why Tainted Dweller goes number 4 on the list. Moving on to number 3, and this is gonna start to get annoying in terms of the bosses, is gonna be the Tainted Disruptor. Can I go to the start of the fight, please? Okay. So the Tainted Disruptor is this boss that has 2 adds who are very tanky, by the way, and he fully heals them on one of his abilities. So in my opinion and in my experience from what I've seen thus far, it's better to leave the adds alone. Just target the boss. That's my strategy behind it. If you have a block buff champion, that is essential at this boss, because then you can avoid him getting all these buffs. He disrupts your flow because you're trying to kill his adds, but he just puts taunt on himself, or he puts his allies under veil, or both sometimes as well, which is just very frustrating. He's also tanky. Both the adds and the boss are tanky. However, he's not as tanky as some of the other bosses. So you can just smack him until he's dead. And another thing that you need to bring as something very important is crowd control for the adds. So in my team, for example, here I have a freeze with Tatora, and I have basically the provokes to keep him controlled as well. And there's a stun on one of my champions as well. So if you can keep them crowd controlled, then and you can just chip away at the boss, you can deal with him. He is more difficult than the previous 2 bosses, which is why he is number 3 on the list. Moving on to number 2, and this is gonna start to get even more difficult. This is gonna be the Tainted Protector. This boss is annoying. This boss really protects his allies. So this boss will counterattack whenever you attack one of his allies, and he hits hard, and his allies hit even harder. And his allies, for whatever reason, always try to target your reviver, which is why this becomes extremely difficult. So the strategy here is you can go after his adds, but he also revives his adds and he gives them berserk. So the better play, in my opinion, is to crowd control his adds. Freeze them, provoke them, whatever you want. Provoke is less useful, freezes or stun is better. As you can see, they hit hard, they hit quite hard. So you will need some kind of protection for your team, a increased defense or strengthen or something like that. Decrease attack is really useful on this boss, especially an AoE decrease attack, so you can put it on the adds as well. And better to just go after the boss. That will avoid the counterattacks from the boss, because he counterattacks whenever you attack his allies. And secondly, you just avoid him reviving but getting berserk on as well. Very difficult to deal with this particular boss. I've had a hard time whenever I've seen him on stage 21, which is why he is number 2 on the list for me. So that's number 2. By now, only one boss left, so you might have guessed, and I think a lot of people will agree, especially to 3-star. Tainted Mirror is definitely number 1 most difficult to 3-star for me, and I believe for many other players as well. He also one of the more difficult ones in the normal faction wars, but on faction wars hard, he just goes entirely a different direction. So he has 2 adds who are both annoying. One of them puts leech and decrease speed on your team. The other one, who is the more difficult one, which is the left one, puts a provoke and on your team and reflect damage on himself, which means that you need to kill those adds first, especially that left add. As you can see, I am targeting him. So the strategy is to first kill his adds. The adds are also decently tanky. Luckily, for this particular faction, I already had, the Hound Crockhad on my team, which means that he does a lot of damage to be able to kill the adds. But when the adds are dead, then the real test starts, because then he will flip everything all the time, which is so frustrating. You cannot put a lot of buffs on your team. You cannot put a lot of debuffs on him, because he just flips things over all the time. And to top it all off, when his HP drops low, he flips the HP with your team. So in the normal version, he just does it with one champion. Here, he just makes your whole team on tiny HP, and he heals himself to full. One strategy is, of course, to just, as he's getting closer, save your big attacks, big nukes, to when his HP is low and just smack him in one go, which rarely works. The other is, he heals himself back up, then you basically try to kill him in those 9 turns that are available to you when his ability is on cooldown, which is the way to go. Decreasing the enemy max HP is another way to do it, but in cases where you have a very good nuker like the dog that we have, I was able to do something like this. Let me showcase. where he was not able to change back. Let's see. So his HP is decently low, and I am heading towards getting the hound, and I think, yeah, I go with this and I just finish him off in one go. But this is rather rare. This is not the norm. This is rather the exception, which is why this boss is #1 most difficult on the list for me. Let me know in the comments if you agree with this ranking, if you would change things around, and what's your experience been so far. Thank you very much for watching till the end. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much once again, and see you next time.